I use this one framework across every business decision, whether I'm advising a $1 million service agency, a web development agency, or just a solopreneur getting started, hiring for my own team, or figuring out if a new software cost is actually going to be worth it. So it's the same system I teach to my clients when they say, I'm not really sure if this is the right move. And I like to call it decide. DECIDE. It's a framework, and once you learn it, you'll make every decision in your business faster, smarter, and with total confidence. So, I'm Matt. Who am I, right? I'm Matt. I run Powell Finance Group, and we advise solopreneurs and service-based businesses and agencies on how to make better financial decisions and financial clarity. I'm a huge proponent on financial clarity, everything from pricing to hiring to scaling up your brand. We're the finance partner for service-based businesses. Thing I've learned is most entrepreneurs don't have a money problem. They have a decision-making problem. They jump into these huge moves based on emotion, pressure, and then they want to justify it with math later. And I don't know what kind of math it is, but typically it's not correct. That's why I built this framework. And so you can make decisions the same way that high-performing CFOs do. Logically, you can make these decisions logically, consistently, and repeatedly. So I'm going to take you over to the whiteboard and break down Decide, DECIDE, and how this framework actually, comes into play. So let me jump over to the whiteboard here. And here we go. So again, D, E. Don't make fun of my handwriting here. I'm doing the best I can with the mouse. All right. Decide. All right. You get the idea. All right. First, decide. So what does the D stand for? Define. What does that mean? All right. So you need to define the constraint. Ask yourself, what's the real problem? Is the problem a capacity issue? Maybe it's a cash flow issue, a time issue. So you got to first define, what is that constraint? And if you don't define the constraint, you end up solving the wrong problem. And that's why this is the very first step. So I remember we had a client ready to hire, full-time project manager and, tons of money. And when we actually determined the root issue, it turned out they didn't even need another person. They just needed a better workflow. And so instead of hiring someone for $80,000 a year, we saved them 80 grand and said, let's just rework the process. Now the QA is better than ever. All right. E. It's funny how those things work. E. Estimate. What are we estimating? Estimate ROI. What does that mean? Well, ROI stands for the return on the investment. So if you're going to invest something, you want to know what is your return you're getting out of it, right? So maybe that's in time, maybe it's in actual cost, but if you can't estimate the impact the decision is going to have, you're not ready to decide yet. So I like to just write it down, financial ROI, time ROI. Maybe it's a headspace ROI. You're getting a return on something, right? You're investing money, time, maybe it's bandwidth, mental fatigue, and the headspace one, that matters the most for a lot of solopreneurs. Sometimes the biggest win is just buying back focus, right? And if you don't have an estimate, and if you don't even know where to start, just research. What has research ever done you any harm, right? And a lot of times the research could be from your own financial statements. What has already happened in the past that's telling you, okay, this is how much it's costing us based on those statements. And if you don't have statements, and if you don't have any previous data to use and to research from your own, stuff that has already happened, then, shameless little plug here. I wrote a book called Bookkeeping Made Simple, and I think that's a great place to start. So if you understand, and you define what the constraint is, but you don't have anything to go off of on your estimate, and that's the part that's getting you stuck, read the book. It'll help you get through it and make a lot more sense and help you actually have data to look at because that's what statements are, right? They're data and they tell us stories. All right, C. C is clarify. It's my favorite one. We need clarity. Clarity, clarify, same thing. What does a yes look like? Most people make decisions emotionally. Gut reaction, gut feeling, and then they panic. Oh, we hired this guy $80,000 and he didn't work out. And now we're panicking because we didn't define what is the success of it? What are we panicking about? Right? Ask yourself what needs to be true for this to actually be a win? Are there any red flags? What would make it actually a no? What makes this decision so easy to say yes or no, black and white? And when you clarify and get clarity in advance, then you make a decision one time. And you stop second guessing yourself. And you go back to say, okay, this is why I made that decision. Okay. So you need to clarify what is a yes and what is a no. All right, I. I is the fun part, right? Implement. This is my sad little T down here. This is the part where you don't have to go all in. You don't have to spend the full 80,000. Why not run a test pilot? A quick little one-time project. We're hiring for this $80,000 project manager, and instead of hiring for a full-time role, we just put them on a contract for 30 days. This is the tryout. How do you even know if you're going to like working with this person? And so implementation is where the clarity starts turning into data. And maybe the data is hard cost. Maybe it is a software you're investing in, and you're starting to actually see in the first 30 days that you're starting to get some hard costs, right? So, for more context, if this is a software, maybe the 30 days is a trial, or maybe you have a 7-day free trial and you say, hey, we're just going to try this out for 30 days. So maybe the data is your hard cost. So maybe your reports are showing you, what those hard costs are so that you can diagnose it. And that's where the next D comes from, is diagnose. And so once you're acting on it, diagnose the results. The results of what you diagnosed, did it actually move the needle? Did it make it a clear impact? Did it make a clear impact on your margin, cash, project turnaround, time, mental bandwidth? Are you thinking clearer? And if you're not tracking the right data, you're making emotional decisions again. And that's disguised. That's what a lot of people call strategy. And that's not strategy. That's flying blind. Okay. And then now that you diagnose the problem, maybe that person makes an immediate impact. The project manager comes in, quality goes up, projects are starting to, be delivered on time. Maybe you're seeing and feeling an impact, and it's a clear yes. Now what do we do? Now we diagnosed it. Enhance. Did it work? Cool. Enhance it. Scale it. It's working, right? Your decision worked. If it didn't, then let's eliminate it. Sorry if you're hearing all my clicking. I'm trying to write the best I can, but let's eliminate it. If it's not working, get rid of it. Refine it. Recalibrate. Understand if this was a no and your clarity defined it as a clear no, then that's the answer to the decision that you made. It just didn't work. And sometimes that's just as important, if not more important, than it being a yes, right? And this is the difference between like average business owners and ones that become more elite. They make decisions based on data and they don't see them as permanent. There's no closed loop. This is an open feedback loop. Okay? This thing happens all the time. And then guess what? You're a business owner. You're going to have to make another decision. Maybe it's not as huge as a hiring decision. Maybe it's something very, very, very small, like, you know, should we continue paying for Spotify? Does our team actually benefit from Spotify? Or maybe you're just by yourself and you're thinking about upgrading your equipment. What's the ROI on it, right? You're at the next decision. Define what the constraint is. Maybe it's a quality constraint. We'll do that. We'll use a camera as an example. So the constraint is quality, maybe the level, maybe you're wanting to up level your service. So what's the ROI on that? I'm gonna look back and see, these are the bookings that I've made, the revenue from each booking, and I'm gonna see, okay, from the camera I've got now, I'm going to increase my prices because I'm gonna produce better service, better quality. The picture's gonna come out super smooth. It's no longer, on my iPhone. Now we have a nice camera, right? And so the camera may cost $1,000 if you're, a camera enthusiast and I'm using general general terms and prices here, but if it's $1,000, we'll go with that. How quick can you turn that $1,000 back in your pocket? Well, if you were making $500 on a booking and now you're able to charge $750, well, 4 new bookings and that ROI is already back in your pocket, right? So that's how we estimate it. Okay, we think looking at my previous history, I see, we're going to make an extra $250 per booking. So clarity, my yes, and let me see if I can scroll down here. Yeah, I'll do it right here. My yes would be 4 extra bookings. All right. My no is I increased the price to $750 and I can't get booked. That's always a possibility, right? No one books it. Okay, implement it. Let's take the pricing guide. Let's take your proposal, up it to $750. Let's send it out to 10 people. 90 days. I love a 90-day test. If you can afford it, run it over 90 days. The worst case scenario is that you go back to what you originally did, right? If someone says no and you're getting so many no's and you really need a yes, the worst case scenario is you go back to $500. Okay? So $750. Now we're sending it to 10 people and we get the 4 bookings. 4 out of 10 say yes. Okay. Now we diagnose. Cool. We got those 4 bookings. This looks good. Let me just continue enhancing my service. Camera worked out great. Oh, and by the way, the 90-day test might be the return window for you too. If you need to take that back, it's worth the restocking fee. Okay. Yeah. If it doesn't work, oh man, my circles aren't that good, huh? Let me clean this up a bit. So now, if it doesn't work, that's fine. Eliminate it. Let's go back to the $500. Return the camera. And we have another big decision to make. It's the continuous loop, right? And we use this for dozens of our clients and creative agencies, solopreneurs, designers. So I think I remember one client used it and we were trying to decide to bring on a sales rep, and another used it to choose between like investing in in like more advertising or new software. And in both cases, the clarity from the process made the answer like so obvious. And that's what you need is you need an obvious answer without a committee or, getting opinions from your husband or wife. Like you need something so clear and easy that it's a yes or a no. And, that's why I like the decide framework. And that's what a good framework does. Gives you repeatable confidence. And I think people need that confidence, especially if you're a solopreneur, you're by yourself, you don't have partners or friends. Like you want something, you need that confidence, right? Um, so I didn't create this from theory. I used it to make emotional business decisions. I used to go with my gut, and now oh gosh, I hired too early. Made that mistake. I'm sure we all have. Overcommitted on software and saw the inflation on that line item grow. I used to underprice work because I didn't have that clear framework. Decide, right? I'm gonna put this back up here for everybody. Um, so it came from just fixing my own mistakes. Like we've been doing this for a few years now, and I just needed something to help me. I'm so indecisive. I just needed something to help me say, all right, slow down. Just need smarter. And if you're a solopreneur, you're an agency owner, you're trying to scale, like you probably don't need more information. You just need better decisions. So, if this is something that excites you and again, like if you get stuck on estimating the ROI, like if that piece is still unclear for you, maybe your books are a mess and like there's nothing, you don't have good data, like you have to have good data. If you don't have good data, go read my book, Bookkeeping Made Simple. It's on Amazon. It's got some 5-star reviews. It's a great starting point. And if you want to use this framework for your next big business decision, then, I'll upload a free version of maybe put it into a worksheet that we use, and maybe I can walk you step by step through it. If that's really something you need, just reach out. I can create a Loom video, but maybe I'll make a, fill in the blank template. And this all comes from defining real world problems. So, powellfinancegroup.com/decide. I'll put it there, put this video there, and this will be on YouTube, and we'll cut it up into some shorts too. So yeah, if you're tired of making every decision alone by yourself, unsure, indecisive, and you want someone to, help you like through this process, then that's what we do. You can book a 15-minute clarity call with our team. We can help you on the next big decision, help you estimate the ROI. If you're stuck with the ROI and you read the book and you just can't get past this like financial operations mess, then don't let that slow you down. We can help provide some clarity there. If it keeps you from driving off a cliff, then it's well worth the time investment. All right. So, yeah, there you go. There's the decide framework, and really hope it helps you out in your next big decision.